while you and me repeat. This bittersweet heat is suffocating.
Hey guys, long time no see. It's time for an update. I know, it's been forever. I've just been busy and lazy, and you know, sometimes things don't happen, and that's just pretty much how this spring has gone so far. As you can see, my fish room's a mess, but everybody's doing fine. All the bettas are good. All of the guppies are good. We did have a scare a couple of weeks ago, which I didn't want to film because I was waiting for it to kind of be over to explain what happened. So we are going to talk about some sick fish today. As you can see, my yellow snakeskin guppies have absolutely taken over. There's about a gazillion babies in there, and this is after pairing some of these out. There's a ton all the time. There's Kohaku down there enjoying his friends. If you guys haven't seen Kohaku before, don't be alarmed that he's in there. He is a blind betta. He doesn't attack anybody. They leave him alone, but he lives with other fish peacefully because he can't see them. He doesn't even know they're in there. We have our gimp fish still in here with some gimp guppies. They're having babies, and you know what? My bettas don't eat the babies. Unlike other people's fish who, you know, they always talk about how bettas will cull guppy fry. Mine don't. Mine adopt them as their own. I guess they're happy. We have about 1 million baby guppies in here. My black guppies are making a comeback. We went ahead and separated all of the mystery snails into their own tank, and they're doing really well. As you can see, we have some new snail eggs, but they're all doing good. All these guppies are doing good. If you see these are my plant snippings from, forgetting the name, my golden pothos I have. It finally got long enough that I could cut them and put them in all of these tanks. So I have a couple floating around. But you guys, look at this. So the last time you saw them, they were just starting to get roots. Ready for this? I have them in these styrofoam plates to keep them above water so they don't dip their leaves in. There's the root system. These guys are doing fantastic. My fish like to swim in between the roots, so you'll find them nipping at them occasionally, but they don't eat them, they just eat stuff off of them. But they're growing really well. So I have those in a couple of tanks. My guppies over here are doing really, really well. We have about a gazillion of them. See them down there floating around if you can see past this god-awful sunlight. And let's go down the hall and have a look. You guys may notice there's less of them. There's also a Bella in here napping. So we have been selling a whole bunch of fish. It's been great. I got my eBay store up and running. My listings amount has been upped because I've had 5-star ratings on every single sale, which is fantastic. So we have sold a lot of fish. If you guys remember, we originally started and this entire platform was filled with jars. All of this was filled with jars, and then we had more jars on the floor. So I've sold quite a few. They're doing really well. We've also been selling all of our guppies in our eBay store. You guys can find the link down in the description. And it's been going well. We have been selling them like crazy. It's absolutely fantastic. We have lost some fish though. So let's go back and talk about some guppies. So a couple weeks ago, we had what I am now kindly referring to as the Guppy Apocalypse. I'll let you guys stare at some fish while we talk about this, because you're probably getting motion sick. Here's some golden guppies to look at. Okay, so we had a Guppy Apocalypse. It started with one tank. One morning I woke up and I saw that the guppies were swarming around the filter, which I've had happen before, so I knew that when your guppies all start swarming the filter like that, it generally means there's something off about the water, because they're trying to get more oxygen. They're staying as close to the filter as possible to get that oxygen and clean water. So I immediately knew something was wrong. And this happens occasionally. Sometimes things snowball, as I call it, where one fish in the tank will die for whatever reason. It could be because it was a female and it died after giving birth. It could be a sick fish, an injured fish. It could have been a fish that died from old age. It could be one that just happened to get sick. I don't know. Occasionally it happens because guppies don't have a particularly long lifespan, and the females do tend to die quite often after giving birth. It's very stressful for them. So I had this snowball effect where one guppy dies, and then that contaminates the water with ammonia and high nitrates and nitrates. And then another fish will get sick because of the poisoning of the water. And then another and another and another, and it snowballs until the entire tank is incredibly toxic and everybody starts dying. So I had one tank start to do this. I immediately changed all the water. I threw in some extra prime to help with the circumstances, but the thing you have to understand about this snowball effect is it doesn't end when you change the water. Because even though the water is now clean, all of those fish that were in the previous water are still dealing with the after effects of the toxic water. So these guppies, even though they were in fresh water now, still had ammonia poisoning from being in the previous water. They could have sustained gill burns. It lowers their immune system. That, they have this reaction. So even though the water was now clean, I still had guppies dying. And there's nothing you can do about it other than to wait out the death cycle. So the next day I had 30 more guppies die. I changed the water again to make sure that water didn't snowball. The next day I had 14 guppies die. Change the water again. The next day 9 guppies died. Change the water again. So on and so forth. And you just have to keep changing the water and waiting for the fish to die until the snowball ends. And at some point, the water will be clean and all of the fish that were affected by the ammonia enough to get that sick will have died off. And what you have left is the survivors. So this happened in one of my tanks, and it was the big mutt guppy tank under the window. By the end of it, you guys might remember there were thousands of guppies in that tank, and by the end of it, there was maybe 20-30 guppies left. Like, it was a hard hit. I lost a lot of guppies. Not only that, though, it started then happening to other tanks. Somehow, I don't know what happened, there was a bacterial infection that swept my entire guppy population. It didn't hit any of the bettas. But every single guppy tank I have lost guppies. It just snowballed out of control. I lost almost all of my baby guppies. There were maybe 10 left. I lost all but, let's see, I think there were 13 left of the black guppies when there had previously been 30 something in there. I lost a lot of the snakeskin guppies, though a lot less than the other tanks. I lost at least 3 of my golden snakeskin guppies that you're watching right now. Like, it was just an absolute guppy apocalypse. It was crazy. By the end of it, I looked around my fish room and I had cut probably 75% of my guppy population. It was just gone. Just absolutely gone. So many dead guppies. But I'm not beating myself up over it because there's nothing that I could have done to stop it. Normally things like this, they may happen because you have bad quality water or you have a sick fish. That wasn't the case here necessarily. I'm not sure where the bacterial infection came from. All the water parameters were good until this snowball happened. It's just one of those cases of sometimes things just happen and you can't control it, and that's what this was. And to all the fish keepers out there, I want you to kind of understand that that happens. You can't necessarily beat yourself up over every fish that dies, because fish will die. They'll die from old age, they'll die from stress, they'll die from illness, they'll die from accidents. There's a million different reasons why a fish will die, and you can't necessarily control all of them. So if you have sick fish, but you're still doing everything you can to keep your water parameters perfect, and you're feeding them the right foods and stuff, don't beat yourself up over it. It's sad, yes, but you can't blame yourself, because sometimes things just happen. And like in the case of a snowball, like what happened here, there's nothing you can do about it. Once it happens, and you just have to ride it out and wait for the whole cycle to end. I mean, I gave them antibiotics. I was changing their water in all of the tanks every single day. I was feeding them good live foods. They had heaters. But it still happened. And I still lost most of my guppies, and there was nothing to be done about it. Even after I had fixed what had initially, become of the snowball, I still had to just wait for all the other fish to succumb to the snowball effect, even though it was fixed now. There's nothing I could have done to save those fish because they were already too harmed to do anything about it. I was lucky I caught the snowball as early as I did. Otherwise, I probably would have lost all of them. But, sometimes there's just nothing you can do. So that's it. That's the story of the Guppy Apocalypse. And I kind of wanted to talk about it with you guys because I see it all the time where people will have a sick fish, a fish that dies, whether it's one betta or a whole bunch of guppies or whatever, and they absolutely beat themselves up over it. They're so sad, and they're like, you know what, I'm done with this hobby, and they give their fish away, and they just decide that they can't handle it. But you have to understand that it's not necessarily your fault, and nobody's necessarily going to blame you. Sometimes things just happen, and you can do every single thing right, and it's still going to happen, like the snowball effect. It didn't matter at that point what I did. It was just going to turn out that way. And all you could do is ride it out and just understand that it's a force of nature that you can't control. Oh, look, it's Kohaku. You can see him down there in the corner. But, yeah. I just don't want you guys to beat yourself up. Don't feel bad about it when it happens. Of course, we don't ever want it to happen, and we hate when our fish suffer and pass away, but you have to understand that in this hobby, sometimes you can't control it. You can do everything right, and you're still gonna lose fish. And that's just something you have to live with. Fish have a very short lifespan. We don't understand them as much as we'd like to yet. And stuff happens. So yeah, that's my update. That's what I've been dealing with, the Guppy Apocalypse. All my plants are doing well. All my fish are doing well now. Lots of sales. Penny the pineapple is outside and doing well. I'm also growing some cantaloupes now and possibly some honeydew in the future. Snails are breeding again. It's been an adventure, you guys. Not a lot has happened over the last couple weeks, and I've just been busy and lazy. I'm a terrible YouTuber. As you guys know, I'm not here to be a YouTuber. I'm here just to kind of like document what happens in this fish room. And sometimes things just get out of control. But yeah, if you guys are interested in buying some fish, check out my eBay store. Link down in the description. I ship out every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I can combine orders. My fish are doing well, as you can see. There's Kohaku down there hanging with his Guppy's friends. They leave him alone for the most part. He is still looking for a good home. He is not up on eBay, but if you are interested in him, please let me know. He's a really good fish. He's blind, but he's a good fish. And he is community friendly. My tank is covered in water spots, and I apologize, but like, I don't really care. Look at all the babies, you guys. This is insane. So yeah, just living the fish life. Enjoying the beginning of summer. Dealing with shipping difficulties. I had some DOAs for a while, but we've fixed what was happening with my local USPS. It's just been busy. I think we still have about half of the Bettas we originally had for sale now. And once that gets down to a more reasonable number, we will endeavor on another breeding project with our Bettas and see what we can get out of it. So look forward to that. We're getting closer. We're finally getting rid of some of these guys. And it's been great because I finally made I don't sell my Bettas and my Guppies for very much money compared to a lot of other people, but I've made enough profit off of them to be able to pay for my shipping supplies and fish food for the Guppies, etc., prime, stuff like that, stuff they need, which has been really nice to sort of be able to share my incredibly healthy fish and also pay for their care. So that's it. I will see you guys in the next video. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. I will be happy to answer. Yeah, just not a lot happens, you guys. But I swear, I'm still here. I'm still here. The fish are still here. We're just dealing with summer. Oh, summer. I hope you guys are having a fantastic summer, and I hope everybody and their fish are doing incredibly well. And I will see you in the next update. Bye.